Alright, so just checking out your models here. I think this one's looking really good. I mean, I was happy with it last week. I like the adjustments that you made. I don't think you need to do the edge wear. Um, so if you think of scales, I mean, they're somewhat organic, so there should be some growth and some healing and things of that nature that could potentially go on. Um, so I don't think you have too much. I mean, I think it works. So you could leave it as is, or potentially, bring it down a little bit. I think you're fine either way. Um, if you are going to work on stuff still, I would say the differences in your specularity could still use some work. So if you look at like the wings, they carry the same specular highlight as the scales, and we kind of or I talked a little bit about this last week, is varying the specularities that are going on. Um, and if you want, we could, potentially look at the settings together and come up with something. But this skin almost feels like these scales, right? So it needs to be broken up a little bit more. And then these scales feel like these scales and this soft tissue here. So I'd like to see a little bit more differences in the actual qualities of them, like how those highlights come out. Um, it does seem like you brought down the size of the kind of skin texture that's on there, the bump or the normal map. I would almost go a little bit smaller, almost half the size. Like these should be really finite details coming through here because he's a huge dragon, right? And this still feels really large for what those details would be to me, especially when we see, skin textures, in areas like this, and it's very small, in areas up here where it's really small as well. Um, zoom in a little bit. So up here we have like really small. I'd almost go maybe smaller down here. That's one thing you want to make a conscious effort of, is looking at the scale of your details and make sure that you're replicating them in similar spots. So what I love about up here is it makes him feel larger, like having the details smaller here. So you could even go a bit smaller here, and I would definitely go smaller here. So there's areas um, like up through here where you're kind of keeping the same resolution or similar resolution to what's up here, and then you have a resolution here that's larger than even what's down here. So you could potentially keep this one, but I would definitely still go smaller with what's on the wings if you want to still make changes. Um, again, they're never finished, but really good job on this one, and I'm not going to keep nitpicking it because otherwise you're going to want to keep working on it. So let's bring up your new model. And looking at the new model, I'm digging where you're going with it. The big thing for me is he's not balanced from the side here. So if he was walking, he'd never be able to walk as upright with this pack. So even in the default pose, I would like to see some of that offset or some of that balance. So you can do it a couple different ways. You could do it through his posture, which would be cool, or you could do it through his wardrobe. So if you were to hang the bar with the bird cages, more forward, it would help to balance off, the weight of his pack. So if one of the birds, maybe the bigger of the two, the bar was coming more forward, so it was slung over his shoulder. Um, that might look cool. So the bird cage would actually be in front of him, help balance him off a bit. And then the other thing that I want to see, and I think back when you did Portfolio 4, I was seeing the same issues with there's no interaction between your wardrobe pieces. Um, so these belts should be interacting with each other more, and then they should be interacting with this bandana kind of that happens underneath. This clothing needs to interact more with his arms, right? It's kind of inflated around his arms. So I want you to really work on this weak balance, balancing this character out so it works from kind of all angles. So when you turn it around, you should have a nice, balanced feel to him. And then I want you to work on interaction between your pieces of wardrobe here. So that would be the second thing. Let's just go in on the face here because, let's see. Yeah, I like the base forms of your head. I think you can maybe refine things a little bit, just tighten up some creases here and there. Like the nostril right through here. Um, Depending how realistic this is supposed to feel, you might want to angle in the face a bit more here, right? So this should be tapering in where your zygomaticus muscles would be, opposed to coming straight out like this. So maybe playing with the shapes a little bit there, so you can see it makes a big difference just pushing that in. But that and the crispness of the nostril, those would be the two things that maybe bug me about the head. So I would definitely push that back, work on the anatomy a little bit in the face. So, but yeah, those would be the three things for the week. If you get done with those, then I'd jump into retopology and just get all these parts retopologized, and then we can start working on some asymmetry stuff. So, good job on the dragon. This character's coming along. Yeah, let's work on balance and interaction with this one.